No one can have this, Dante. It's mine. It belongs to the son of Sparta. We are the sons of Sparta. In our veins runs his blood, his soul! And right now, my soul is saying it wants to stop you! Maybe so. But your name isn't written on it, now is it? Well, I don't exactly see Vergil written on it, now do you? Well, my name might not be written on it either, but that doesn't prove that it's yours. Who do you even think is on the front cover? What? Oh. Alright. Here you go. Thank you. Understandable. Have a nice day.
Sorry, honey, but this show isn't for kids.
Greetings, comrades, and hello, everyone. I'm Quinn866. I've been waiting to do this review for quite a while. I've mentioned in a few of my Anime Memories retrospective reviews that I had intended to do the Devil May Cry, the animated series review, a lot earlier than I'm doing right now. But I figured, given the fact that I was doing a bit of a Magical Girl anime binge, I should do those for a bit before transitioning into Devil May Cry, since it'll feel more fresh after doing things that kind of shared a similar genre. And here we are now, and well, I have quite a bit of history with this one. As you can see, Devil May Cry, the animated series, is the very first anime I got. True story, but I just picked up Devil May Cry, the animated series, on a whim. It was near my birthday. I got a $60 Amazon gift card. I wanted to get the Soul Eater anime on physical copy, which I got, and I had a few bucks left over, and I'm like, hey, I might as well buy something to go along with it, and I saw Devil May Cry, the animated series, is only 15 bucks on Amazon. I'm like, yeah, I can get that. So ordering the two, I got it, watched it, and thoroughly enjoyed it. Embarrassingly enough, I took an image of the... I guess you can see my brown hair a little bit to the side there, but that doesn't really matter. This wig is, really doesn't look like Vergil's hair. It looks more like Nero's in Devil May Cry 4's, actually. And, you know, I might as well just take this off, because, wow, that is itchy. And now I gotta go comb my hair.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
Okay. Anyways, as I was saying before, embarrassingly enough, I had taken photos of my Amazon order history to prove what anime I got at what point, and if you noticed during an earlier video, I accidentally revealed my name in one of the shots. Cue flashback sequence! No! 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 So yeah, y'all know my name now, but that's not too big of an issue. Just as long as y'all don't get any funny ideas. Okay. But yeah, Devil May Cry the animated series alongside Soul Eater was the first anime that I ordered, and at the time I did not intend a retrospective until I ordered Wild Arms and Trigun on my anime collection, which was about 5 or 6 DVDs down the line. That's when I started to do the retrospective. But yeah, I originally just bought Devil May Cry with the intention of using the rest of my Amazon gift card around my birthday. And I mean, even my order history shows that, considering my birthday is May 26th. Yeah, I mean, it was only 4 days after my birthday, and I'd ordered the wig about a month before, so yeah. Now, with the overly long intro out of the way, we can finally cover Devil May Cry, the animated series, the review I've been postponing for quite a while until now. Okay, bit of a misstep here. You probably noticed the lighting is a lot different because I'm recording this later today. I forgot to talk about the intro, so let's just do that really quickly. And sorry if the lighting's different. I legit forgot to script out my thoughts in the intro. I've said before on a few of my videos, even including my very first one, that anime openings I usually skip are the Devil May Cry anime opening, since the music is amazing, the Bo opening, since it looks good and is literally 57 seconds, Gun X Sword, since it's the perfect anime, and Trigun because all the shots are cool in the opening. Though this is an anime opening I will always watch 100% of the time. Now, okay, let me say right now, it is not by any means a 10 out of 10 intro. It's got a few things going against it, but the reason why I say it's extremely rewatchable is not just because this series is only 12 episodes long, making the intro not feel like it's getting old, but also because this intro does do quite a clever job tying into things that, well, you wouldn't really know unless you played the games. One of them, for instance, is this shot right here, where we see Dante's over a bunch of demons, but then we cut to his eye and we see him literally cry a tear of blood. This really nails in the Dante's depressed theory going around, and real talk people, I definitely believe the Dante's depressed theory really applies at this point in the time frame. And I do like the music. The music is absolutely amazing in this intro, and the animation is alright. Not the best animation I've seen, but good enough and does the job well for being a flashy opening to grab your attention. Like I said, it's a really rewatchable intro, and it's not like the best intro I've ever seen, but it's up there, and being rewatchable is a massive strength this intro has going for it.
So when do you think clients will start coming today? I suppose. I probably better decorate the outside, too.
Oh, give me a break. You saw the pizza boy's reaction, didn't you?
Before we get into the characters themselves, I really do want to cover something I hear all the time. And if you saw the intro skit, you should probably know where I'm going with this. Everyone complains about there being no Vergil in Devil May Cry the animated series. And I want to say right now, I think that claim is totally stupid. Legit, people. I love Vergil too. He's my favorite Devil May Cry character. I'm wearing the Vergil jacket. But I want to say right now, just because Vergil's not in the Devil May Cry anime doesn't mean the anime isn't still good. Now, Vergil is a massive selling point, and he is the best Devil May Cry villain, as well as bringing out the best in Dante, but I'm not exactly losing sleep over Vergil not being in Devil May Cry, and real talk, I think Devil May Cry the animated series was better off without Vergil. I would have liked to see Vergil in the animated series as well, I don't deny that. However, for where the animated series took place in the chronology, and given Vergil's status at that rate, I think it made the most sense to not include Vergil, and I think that was a safe bet, since if the animated series was bad, then that definitely would have ruined Vergil. Thankfully it's not, but still the possibility was out there. And I know Devil May Cry is perfectly capable of telling an enjoyable story without Vergil as the main focus. Now granted, Vergil definitely helped elevate the best Devil May Cry stories, but there have been decent Devil May Cry stories where Vergil wasn't a primary focus. Prime example being the very first game in the series. Okay, yeah, I know Vergil was a very brief part, especially with the Nello Angelo arc of Devil May Cry 1, but I don't count that since Vergil had really not been developed as a character, and, well, Nello Angelo died at this point in the series, so I don't count Vergil's involvement as a focus in Devil May Cry 1. It's a theme, but definitely not the focus. Another good example relies in Devil May Cry 4, where, yes, Nero definitely had a lot going for him in terms of his backstory since, well, Vergil really is the source of Nero's backstory, and you could definitely argue Vergil was more of a focus, even if he wasn't there, though I argue against that since, well, again, they put more of that onto Nero, and no, Vergil downloadable content does not count either. I mean, Devil May Cry has told entertaining stories without the need for Vergil. Now, granted, the best Devil May Cry stories obviously had Vergil in it, but I'm not exactly losing any sleep over a Devil May Cry story that doesn't have Vergil. I mean, even Devil May Cry 2, which is widely considered the worst game alongside the remake D.M.C. Devil May Cry, I personally didn't mind. Devil May Cry 2 and D.M.C. Devil May Cry are by no means masterful stories, but I'll admit I could get behind them even as alienated from the franchise as they were. I really did like the depression angle they played for Dante in Devil May Cry 2, and you could argue at the time they may have not thought of that, though it is possible. I'm not saying they intended Dante in DMC 2 to be depressed, and that's why he's so silent and a lot more different acting in Devil May Cry 2, though he did lose Vergil twice at that rate, and Trish isn't with him, so I imagine that Dante would be kind of lonely, but, I mean, it's definitely not for sure. There's no guarantee that the developers wanted Dante to be depressed in Devil May Cry 2, but I do feel like there was enough possibility for it to be, well, hypothetically possible, but we won't know for sure. Regardless of that fact, I'm done talking about Vergil's lack thereof, because I really want to say right now, the animated series' characters are fine, even without the iconic and amazing rival Dante. Dante is pretty close to how he was in the game, with a few added little details to make him different enough from the other incarnations. He's got his wisecracks, he's got his badassery, and of course he's got his humor, his weapons, what have you. If I were to compare this Dante to any others, I'd say he's closest to his Devil May Cry 1 incarnation, and I guess that makes the most sense, since, well, this anime takes place right after Devil May Cry 1 in the chronology, and I believe that. However, there are some differences. In Devil May Cry 1, Dante's wisecracks and snarky lines were definitely a lot more, well, snarky, but here he does take things seriously a lot more often than he did in Devil May Cry 1, but still does it enough. And while he's not nearly as explosive as he was in Devil May Cry 3, or 4 and 5 especially, this does make the transition to Devil May Cry 2, then the transition back to 4 and 5, actually make a lot more sense, and it definitely flows a lot better, since we see Dante goes from being explosive and serious to depressed to, well, explosive again. Under normal circumstances, if Dante was the only video game representative in the anime, I'd see why people would be frustrated with Vergil not appearing, since, well, video game animes have this really weird problem, and I feel like not a lot of people notice. To go on just a very, very brief sub-tangent here, I feel like video game animes are really hard to write for the developers, since there's no real way to win. And I really hate that, considering when you write a video game TV adaptation, not just like a movie or a film, but just like, you know, like a TV series and anime, it's really hard because you either follow the source material accurately, like they did in Persona 4, Persona 5, and Ace Attorney's anime, and people complain it's a watered-down synopsis, even though it's really accurate to the source material. And then you got other things like Sonic X and a bunch of other video game animes or TV adaptations that aren't exactly the most accurate to the source material, but like, it's not accurate to the source material. And I feel like everyone out there bitches about this, and it's really a shame considering I think Devil May Cry the animated series is one of the best video game TV adaptations we got, but people really complain about it not being accurate to the source material, and yet people complain about Persona 4, 5, and Ace Attorney's anime being a watered-down synopsis. I'm like, people, they're obviously not going to cram in every dialogue option in those animes. Persona 4 and 5 are 90-plus hour games to 100%, so of course they'd have to cut corners, and with them being role-playing games, and okay, maybe not Ace Attorney, since Ace Attorney definitely has less and less dialogue options, but with Persona 4 and Persona 5, I understand why they had to cut down on a little bit, because, well, not every person's going to choose the same dialogue options, because Persona 4 has much of that, and Persona 5 has much of that too, so I really do not agree with people out there who just avidly hate on every video game anime they've ever seen, and with Devil May Cry the Animated Series being pretty faithful to the series while also introducing new stuff, I think Devil May Cry the Animated Series is definitely a good example of a decent balance between being faithful to the source material while not just recycling things. Another video game representative is Mary, or better known as Lady, who appeared in Devil May Cry 3. She's a human who hunts devils, but slowly started to see Dante was not evil, and, well, started hunting devils that were only a threat. I do like her coming here in the anime, since after Devil May Cry 3, I kind of wondered where she was in, with Devil May Cry 4 only having Lady briefly appear and as a playable character, and while she definitely appeared in Devil May Cry 5 for much longer, I will appreciate her moments here with Dante. Also, the friendly rivalry here is pretty nice as well. And Lady wasn't the only video game rep we got, since much like Devil May Cry 3 getting a rep, Devil May Cry 1 got its female rep with Trish. The Devil May Cry series has always had a habit of making Lady more of the focused female than Trish, and here is no exception, since Lady appears as early as episode 2, and Trish appears as episode 4. Even still, Trish gets less moments, though I do appreciate her giving us more to work off in the series as a whole, and showing how she first met Lady, and her relation to Lady was good. Now I think it's time to talk about the characters who were first introduced in the anime, and I actually rather appreciated what they did here with most of them. Patty Lowell, in my opinion, is the most interesting Devil May Cry female character. Keep in mind, I said the most interesting female character. She's not the most useful, nor does she really even have that much complexity, and she's really simple, but that actually works pretty well, and given her screen time being much longer than Lady and Trish, I really appreciate what they did here with her. No, it's not because of lolicons or how long I intend to drag out this recurring joke, but it's actually because Patty really does unleash a side of Dante we don't often see. With her being a totally helpless, defenseless child, and Dante being this stone-cold, stalwart hunter, it really gives them an interesting relation. No, not as like a lover, whatever romantic gig that people could theorize about, but more of just a guardian and a sibling kind of role, and I think it works pretty well. Patty's story is pretty endearing, and her relation to Dante I found actually really interesting. It's like I said, she really does unleash a side of Dante we don't really see. She acts as a good source of comedy and comic relief, and real talk, I can't help but feel for her a lot of the time, with her just wanting to find her family. I mean, is there anything really more human than that? Wanting to be with those you know and those you care for? Being an orphan for most of her life, she doesn't really know who to trust and who to believe in. When she inevitably does find her mother, it leads for some really emotional scenes. And the very last scene, where she literally helps Dante escape from one of his most desperate situations, I'll admit really struck a good note with me, and is probably one of the most emotional scenes I've ever experienced in Devil May Cry. She really does bring out a side of Dante that I wish I saw more in the games. Okay, I'm going to admit, I do think Lady and Trish are more interesting for their obviously more complex stories, but Patty Lowell, from start to finish, has a way more complete arc. I mean, okay, Lady definitely had a good arc in Devil May Cry 3, but was just kind of there in all the other future games because of people wondering where she went, and Trish, well, Trish's arc was probably and arguably just as simple as Patty's in terms of grasping it, but even still, Trish really didn't get a lot of moments. Now, this is what I appreciate about Patty. Her arc feels more complete, and it feels like a start arc to end arc. It's more closed, and it just has more meaningfulness to me personally. But now let's talk about J.W. Morrison. Also being first introduced in the anime is J.W. Morrison, the one who gives Dante, acts as an information broker, and, well, is just kind of a cool dude. Though I know the massive controversies and questions regarding why he was black in Devil May Cry 5, yet white here, but I'm really not going into details about that. I'm really not. I mean, Devil May Cry has been bloody. Devil May Cry has been scary. Devil May Cry has even been sexy on a few occasions, but Devil May Cry is not meant to be political, folks. Anyways, I do like Morrison. He seems like a decent dude, acts as a good voice of reason to Dante and his usual antics, and, well, I don't know, I just feel like he's a bit underappreciated when it comes to the human characters, since, real talk, Devil May Cry really focuses on the devil characters, but that's really just a topic for another time. All you need to know is that he's cool. And finally, let's talk about the main antagonist, Sid. Okay, not a great name, I know, but he is one of the more interesting Devil May Cry villains that definitely has more identity to him. Sid is definitely a really simple villain, but I like how he's a lot more subtle than what we got in the other games. He starts out as just a generic grunt who appears as early as episode 1, but when he tries to pull some shit, Dante manages to scare him off and he runs off like a coward, begging for his life, with surprisingly, Dante just letting him scurry off. Since then, he starts gathering seals from other demons and tricking his way up to power, since as a demon with tremendously low strength, he wants to gain the power of Abigail, the great big demon lord who rivaled Mundus and Argosax from the D.M.C games in strength. He manages to do a really good job being really deceptive and charismatic, managing to get everything he needs, eventually gaining the power of Abigail after tricking literally everyone, and this will make Sid actually a really unique villain. The other Devil May Cry villains were all really powerful from the start, but here we have a villain who isn't even all that powerful, but he's trying to get power. This is what I like. I mean, okay, Vergil wanted power in Devil May Cry 3, but real talk, he already had enough power. Having someone with no power want to get power so they could become stronger against those who they were a danger to is definitely really interesting, and he's really hateable as a villain would be, and okay, I will admit, it is a little bit weird for this little gremlin dude to pull the strings and secretly be the main villain, but it's definitely a lot different from having a demon lord or a fiery Argosax the Chaos, or God forbid your brother is a rival. I mean, they were fine villains, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying this definitely feels a little bit more original. Now, is he the best Devil May Cry villain? No, not by a long shot, but I will take Sid over Argosax, the Order in Devil May Cry 4, and many of the generic demons in Devil May Cry 5. But overall, it makes his defeat really satisfying, and he definitely was the last major challenge for Dante in the chronology until Urizen/Vergil appeared again in Devil May Cry 5. I do like it how the final fight is really emotional, and we do get to see Dante unleash his Devil Trigger very briefly, but even so. It also makes the Jackpot finisher at the end much more satisfying. So with that said, we have a decent cast of characters. It's not the most amount of characters, but for 12 episodes, I'm grateful for what we got. Okie dokie, time for the visuals. This is something Devil May Cry is known for, regardless of what series it is or what interpretation of it is. Devil May Cry has always been about the flashy visuals, the explosive effects, the style. I mean, this is done right to the stylish meter in every Devil May Cry game. How is the visuals of the animated series? Well, okay, I'll admit, it is a little bit disappointing. Devil May Cry has always been a series with really good visuals for its time or whatever console it's released on. I mean, starting with the first game that looked really good for its time. Sure, there was a few stiff motion shots, but at the time, this is some swag PS2 graphics. And while Devil May Cry 3 may have regressed in a few ways with some weird facial animations, it made up for it with much better motion, as well as a lot more deep, dark, atmospheric locations. And while the anime still retains a lot of this, I mean, the character designs are pretty accurate, even for the new characters, the monsters, and whatnot. The motion is pretty stiff, and they do a lot of cutting corners here. Now, I know I gave credit to stiff animation, and was able to forgive that in something like Berserk, which I was able to forgive specifically in the 1997 animation, and the 2016 animation to some extent, but still. However, here, they did cut a lot of corners, and it's really noticeable. Again, not bad for an anime, but for Devil May Cry, this definitely dropped the ball here. On a few separate occasions, I have claimed that I am by no means an animation expert, not by a long shot, but after reviewing more and more animes and starting to notice more and more things, I'm starting to get a better grasp on how to determine what type of animation appeals to me more, and just overall quality, since when it comes down to animation, it's really hard for me to describe and rate properly without sounding biased, since animation for me is a big taste thing, and it's really hard for me to make it factual with logic, because, again, I'm just not an animation expert, but with more reviews coming out and me having to do animation in more segments, I think I have a pretty solid argument on why the animation is fine for 2007 anime standards, but for Devil May Cry standards, it's noticeably a step back. Now, maybe that's just because Devil May Cry as a series has always benefited and boasted fantastic visuals, but here it definitely feels like a step back. If this was any other series, this animation would be fine for 2007, but since it's Devil May Cry, it's noticeably less fun. I noticed a ton of times where there was a lot of standing still glamour shots. Now, it's in character for Devil May Cry since they're all about style, downright to the whole stylish meter, which I'm pointing out once again. So, it's not out of character for Devil May Cry, but for animation, this is really used to cut costs, as well as save time for the animation, and this works fine in a few areas, but the amount of times they use this standing still glamour shots to cut back on animation is really noticeable. And it's not the worst thing ever, and it works because it fits in character, but the amount of times they use it, I'm definitely not going to justify. And there's also a lot of times where Dante does something and they cut away from the fight, like when firing a gunshot they don't show the impact, or when swiping a sword they cut away so they don't have to animate an actual bullet shot wound, and they do it a few times, but like they definitely do it a lot. And again, cutting corners is something a lot of animes have to do, but the amount of times Devil May Cry the animated series did it is really noticeable. I mean, these aren't things you'll definitely complain about on the watch-through. I mean, it doesn't ruin the visuals by any means, and you'll only really notice it if you do a review or want to critique it, but it definitely does feel noticeably less energetic than the video games, which had just phenomenal animation like these, especially in Devil May Cry 4 and 5. I mean, just look at these beautiful animations, great particle effects, the characters' faces, the motion. I mean, Devil May Cry, as I said, just has such high visual standards, and the anime understandably didn't quite meet them. Again, there is an okay explanation, but it doesn't make it any more or less disappointing. To sum it all up, the animation is fine as a 2007 anime, but pretty lackluster as a Devil May Cry intro. Though, I'm not gonna say it ruins a series. I mean, animation does not ruin a series for me. I mean, animation did not ruin Berserk 2016, and it certainly won't ruin Devil May Cry the animated series. So, even if it's a slight misstep, let's see what the other sections have to offer.
But this record is filled with her soul. the purest thing there ever was.
Really? I don't suppose you'd be interested in playing that one for me.
Yeah, let's give it a spin. It's good to have a listen to it every now and then.
Alright, the audio in Devil May Cry is another selling point. Much like the visuals being really flashy, Devil May Cry is also known for having a really good soundtrack. And here, they definitely made up for it, because the audio here is phenomenal. One of my favorite soundtracks in any video game anime. Now, of course, not an anime period, that might be stretching it a little bit, but the audio here does a really good job at suiting multiple genres while retaining the overall atmosphere and feel of Devil May Cry in the sound department. We have things that fit most of the Devil May Cry staples, while also feeling new and fresh in a weird way. Like, that's a theme that you wouldn't hear in the Devil May Cry games, but actually does a pretty decent job fitting Dante and his more laid-back nature. And of course, the anime still has themes to fit the stuff with the games, like the fight themes. The fight themes are really good this time around. I do find the tracks for the different emotions, like the more laid-back moments, the happy moments, the sad moments, to be good as well. Though I kind of wish there's maybe a bit more of these to select from. Before we got, they were decent. Devil May Cry used to be a horror-ish genre. In the first two games specifically, there was a leaning towards the horror genre with the action as a part of it, but the future games kind of discarded the horror, and I kind of miss that a little bit. But the audio here does kind of give me vibes of the lost horror in Devil May Cry, so I'll give credit there. So overall, if you kind of missed the horror and the scare in Devil May Cry, this soundtrack will definitely deliver in some way, shape, or form. And another detail I really liked was that in a few episodes, we got a few music tracks exclusive to those episodes. You probably saw on the little title card that that episode had a Mermaid Rock record. No, it's not Atlantica. Yes, I know. I don't like The Little Mermaid, and Atlantica was the worst world in Kingdom Hearts. But I like how that episode, the song Future My Hands played, and I would play it, but I want to avoid as much copyright as I can, so I'm not gonna. But I like how that was a song exclusive to that episode, and the track Bullets, which I played earlier, only plays during the Plesio fight in episode 7. So I do like it how we got a few exclusive music tracks. So that's nice. Gives you stuff to look forward to. Overall, the soundtrack's really good, and it definitely makes up for a lot of things that Devil May Cry has kind of either lacked or kind of forgotten about. So it's a good soundtrack.
Someone help me! She's a demon!
Yes, you're right, I'm a demon. And what might you be?
That's right. I'm also...
Alright, in a few of my more recent reviews, I've actually tended to neglect this section, and I want to bring it back here. The world in Devil May Cry, the animated series, takes place, I believe, in Redgrave City. It has been confirmed whether or not that's true, but I like to believe that since Dante's shop is here, Morrison appears both here and in Devil May Cry 5, since in Devil May Cry 5, Redgrave City is there, and I think it makes sense to show Redgrave City in the anime before the Quailof fruits infect it in Devil May Cry 5. And overall, for what we got some good diversity. Now, it's still a city at the end of the day, but it does have its identity, making it feel unique, unlike Tomoeda and the city in High School DxD especially. You don't have to make your areas big, bustling, and have lots of different, monsters and threats to make it interesting. I mean, the camera angles here are good, and the locations are very diverse. Look at Dante's demon hunting shop, Devil May Cry. It's about as poor and run down as Dante himself, and it adds yet another reason to why Dante is just so damn depressed. We also get some really good set pieces, like a bridge chase fight in episode 2, which is really cool. Not every episode even takes place in Redgrave City. Like in episode 3, where a demon and a human girl fall in love, it takes place in a completely other, separate town in Capulet Town, and then Dante proceeds to fight the real mastermind in the mansion. Cool stuff if you ask me. And it goes even beyond that. For instance, in episode 4 we get a really cool church fight, which, again, uses the camera angles, the action, and Lady and Trish's fight scene was really good, and one of the best fights. Not my personal favorite, but top tier when it comes to ranking the fights. We have an abandoned library, which has, all of the, lost books, lost records, lost everything you find at libraries. Heck, there's even some video games at libraries, but I don't want to go into too much of that detail. We get an entire prison break episode, which is really cool. And heck, there's even an episode where they go back to the city where Dante lived in with his mother Eva and brother Vergil before, tragedy struck and he became a demon hunter. It was really cool and even got to fight the demon that was sealed off that did the burning of the village. Cool stuff if you ask me. Heck, even an episode takes place completely on a vehicle. Another steamship, like in episode 5 of WATV, but here, this episode is one of my favorites since it's both a steamship and a casino cruise. Again, what is it with everything I watch getting good gambling episodes? I brought this up in WATV's review, and I specifically brought up this episode as an example because episode 9, Death Poker, is one of my favorite episodes. Another great episode comes right after that, in episode 10, The Last Promise, where we get a great fight scene between Dante and Ball, one of Sparta's apprentices, in front of the statue of Sparta on a really rainy night. And it's a really good fight, and Ball is probably the closest we got to another Vergil-like figure, but he wasn't really a rival, more just another demon with a sword. And in the very last episode, we get some shots of the demon world, which are absolutely devastating and look really creepy to fit with the climax of the series. I mean, damn, these locations are great! Again, cities are hard to get right. I get that, they're very overused, but this is a great example of how to make your cities unique. It's not just, having diversity, it's not just having options, it's having unique camera angles, it's having different themes, it's the lighting. It goes way beyond that, and Redgrave City in Devil May Cry the Animated Series is a really good world. Now, once again, I still think Fall Gaia is a better location. I talk about WATV and I mention it constantly, but that world, the planet of Fall Gaia, is a really good place, and I'm shocked that we haven't covered a world yet that, in my opinion, can rival Fall Gaia. But hey, the more deeper we go, I think we'll eventually find something. But now let's move on to the story.
What did you think? I'd beg for my life or something? Fool, I'm different than I was before. I'll show you. I'll show you the power of Abigail, who once rivaled the Demon King.
Much like I said in the Hellsing review, Devil May Cry the animated series follows a mission-based structure for its episodes that don't really connect until the very end. And this is fine in theory. Personally speaking, I really like this since, well, Devil May Cry never really had side quests. Now, okay, there were secret missions where you could do a few challenges, get a fragment of a blue orb or a yellow orb or red orbs or whatever goodies and in-game items, but those secret missions didn't have, like, you know, story stakes. Like, maybe, if you really stretch it, the hidden bangle one in D.M.C. 1, but you'd have to stretch that so far. But I like this since we essentially get to see Dante on a lighter scale, doing smaller missions that ultimately are wrapped up at the end of the episode, and we only get to see the bigger picture near the very end. And I personally am fine with this. Like, you know, Devil May Cry never really had side quests, so you could argue it's a bit alienating, and I guess I can kind of see that, but I'm just glad that the animated series did this, since the animated series was a good testing ground for this experiment, and for what we got, I'm satisfied with the mission-based structure. If you want proof this series is mission-based, just look at the start of every single episode title. They literally call them missions. Mission 1, Devil May Cry. Mission 2, Highway Star. Mission 3, Not Love. Mission 4, Rolling Thunder. Mission 5, In Private. Mission 6, Rock Cream, so on and so forth. I mean, this is proof that the missions are literally the structure for the episodes. To the point they put mission number insert name here after every single intro, bearing the exception of the first episode and the last episode since they're respectively the pilot and the finale. But real talk, I do think the mission structure works to its advantage in the animated series. I mean, the story trying to connect itself near the end does feel like they... well, it's not like rushed. That's not the right word, since it really was trying to connect. It was not rushed. The problem was, it felt forced. Maybe it's because I wanted more because the series is only 12 episodes, or, I'm sorry, 12 missions long, but for what we got, it satisfied me well enough. And if you view Devil May Cry the animated series as a short story that's kind of a brief introduction to Devil May Cry to get you into playing the games, if you haven't tried the games, then I think the animated series does a pretty good job promoting the series. Again, it's very light. It's not even anywhere near as close as Desperate or High Stakes as the games, and most of the entirety of this anime, Dante really isn't all too challenged, unlike a few of the D.M.C fights in Devil May Cry 1 and 3. Now, to be fair, this makes sense since in the timeline, this is where Dante started having really easy jobs until Devil May Cry 5 came in and literally bitch-slapped him in the opening with Urizen. But I will admit, I think the animated series did a pretty good job overall with its missions. Mission 1, Devil May Cry. Yeah, really creative just reusing the name of the series as your first mission name, but whatever. Is actually a decent start to the series. It reminds me a lot in structure of the Natural Born Angel episode with Sybil and Judecca from WATV, where it was just short action scenes strung together for story significance. And here, they do it pretty well with Patty being a defenseless kid and Dante having to guard her. It kind of ties back into the horror themes that I thought were lost in Devil May Cry. Again, I do like the horror in Devil May Cry. This was a good way to kind of tap into that. Mission 2, Highway Star, serves as a great introduction for Lady, and I absolutely love the bike set piece since we know ever since Devil May Cry 1 with Trish bursting into Dante's shop on a bike and the whole "let's ride to hell" ending in Devil May Cry 2 having a bike in it. They were going to bring back the bikes for Dante at some point, and here it was really good. It was a great pace fight scene with a red-eyed demon posing as a motorcyclist for a decent early series fight. I liked it. It was fast-paced, good, and the humor with Lady and the more friendly rivalry with Dante being in debt was well set up, and, well, I don't really have much else to complain about. Just a good episode. Mission 3, Not Love, definitely tries to make Dante more human, something I really appreciate the animated series doing, with another devil who turns his back on the demon world to try and become human, but Dante is hired by someone to kill this demon, but he actually spares the demon, saying that, well, he wasn't so evil after all, since he fell in love with a human girl when going on with a plan by his master Belphegor. And I do like it how Dante really does show his sympathy in the whole devils never cry logic, really tying into the name of his shop, though it is kind of boring with a really short action scene at the end, which definitely doesn't help since, again, Devil May Cry is known for its action, and this really short fight does not do it justice. Definitely one of the lower tier episodes. Mission 4, Rolling Thunder, is a fan favorite, and I definitely can see why. It's in my top 3 episodes. Not personally number 1, but it's still really good. It did something the games never really explained, and that was how Lady and Trish met. It also gave Trish more screen time. Again, another thing I appreciate. And it also does, it does a lot for Dante as well, showing how he differs from Lady and Trish. Again, the whole debt humor thing is a bit screwing over because they're trying oh so hard to put Dante in more debt, but I will say though that it was a good episode, and I can see why it's a fan favorite. Mission 5 in Private is probably the worst episode, and it's not like, oh my gosh, episode 13 and episode 7 levels of WATV bad, but it's still not great by any means. It really just involves a guy that follows Dante, wanting to see what makes him so manly since a waitress girl at a restaurant isn't really paying attention. I mean, I don't really know. I mean, it's an okay poke at comedy, and there is story significance with Sid actually going to the dude, trying to, make him summon demons for a part of his plan in Dante, but other than that, though, it's just kind of a meh episode. Again, not overly terrible, but easily my least favorite episode. Mission 6, Rock Queen, is great, with an excellent set piece in the abandoned library. The whole tragic story of the singer Elena Hudson, who got possessed by a demon, works really well. The fight scene was longer and definitely more energetic. I like the exclusive music track, Future in My Hands, and yeah, it's just a good episode. One of the best episodes, personally speaking, and I'm not sure how I feel about it now, since on my first watch through, this was the best episode on my first watch through, but upon rewatching it a few times, I did start to notice a few things with it, but don't let that get to your head though. This is still a fantastic episode, and Mission 6, Rock Queen, coming right after Mission 5 in Private was definitely the right decision since it recovered quite well from the slight misstep in that episode. Mission 7, Wishes Come True, is another one of my personal favorites. It has the whole prison break setup that I mentioned before, but not because of Dante, but because a completely innocent human got framed by a demon for a crime he didn't commit. Because, well, the demon is, a djinn, or genie, or whatever you want to call it, and he, let's just say, manipulated this one dude into making a wish that he didn't exactly want. And the demon djinn, his name is Plesio, by the way, definitely put up one of the better early series fights, and he is story significant since his mask was a seal for the great big final demon that Sid needs to unleash called Abigail. So, him getting sicked on Dante only worked in Sid's favor. And I do like it. It's a good episode, the fight scene was great, and overall, I don't really have too many complaints. Just a good episode. Mission 8, Once Upon a Time, definitely had a lot of promise, with going back to Dante when he was a human as Tony Redgrave. Now, I know there's all the arguments about the chronology of those novels and how they relate to Dante and all that jazz, but I definitely like what they were going for. Though the fight scene was definitely a bit of a letdown, we don't even get to see how the fight concludes since the dude that knew Anthony Redgrave passes out. And it's a good episode. It's easily my favorite of the low-tier episodes, but still had a little bit that could have done better. Mission 9, Death Poker, is my personal favorite episode. And do I really need to say why? It's a gambling episode. I sure do love those! Okay, I haven't had many examples to pull off of except for episode 9 of WATV, and I guess you can consider episode 4 of Trigun a gambling episode, but later on in the retrospective, you'll see what I mean. I mean, legit, I have barely seen any gambling episodes in anything I've watched. Movies, cartoons, animes. Legit, gambling episodes are usually some of the most fun episodes for me. Not even just an anime, like, take Skill Crane from SpongeBob. That was a fantastic gambling episode, and oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I really do wonder, what exactly makes a bad gambling episode? Like, I've never seen a bad gambling episode, and I kind of want to see it this rate so I can break the cycle, but hey, I don't mind. It means more good episodes. Mission 10, The Last Promise, is really good, as Dante fights a swordsman trained by Sparta, in one of the best fight scenes in the entire anime. Mission 11, Showtime, is the penultimate episode where Sid finally unleashes Abigail and fuses with the giant demon for a great climax and a really good final fight, and is the last true challenge Dante faced before Urizen popped up and decided to bitch slap Dante in the beginning of D.M.C. 5. And the ending where Dante is crucified is absolutely dreadful. It just makes you feel hopeless. I mean, Dante's been stabbed by his own sword before. Yes, I don't deny that. But never had he actually fallen asleep from it. And the following scene in the next episode, Mission 12, Stylish, where Patty wakes him up by going to the demon world herself to save him, was just moving. I mean, my heart swayed so many times, and I genuinely shed tears during the scene. I didn't full on cry like a few other times I've mentioned in moving scenes in these reviews, but this scene that got some tears on me is definitely impressive. And the following fight where Dante finally manages to put down Sid and Abigail and talks down to him about you needing more power isn't a reason to fight. He tells Sid that just because you have power doesn't mean you have a soul, and it's kind of clever considering, remember what Dante said back in the finale of D.M.C. 3? In our veins runs his blood, but more importantly his soul. It's just really good. And the following Jackpot finisher was great. The ending was emotional, and it actually does subtly tie into Devil May Cry 2, since it's heavily implied where the group head off after this anime is to the location in Devil May Cry 2. And overall, DMCTS had a really good, consistent string of episodes. Some better than others. Overall, no episode I would say was outright bad. Now, there was definitely some good but not great ones, specifically Mission 3 and 5, and Mission 8 definitely could have used a little bit more given the weight of what it had on Dante's character and the Tony Redgrave lore, but overall, I really like Devil May Cry the animated series, and I'm not gonna lie when I say this is one of the best video game animes ever released. It's consistent enough to the source material, while also having its own identity to not just be a generic rehash. Now, this is another thing why video game animes are really hard. It's also extremely difficult to balance original material versus tying into the content that's already created. That's why video game animes, in my opinion, work better with balancing things out, by introducing new themes, but also sharing ones from what they were originally based off of. And overall, Devil May Cry the Animated Series did that really well, thus earning Devil May Cry the Animated Series a 9 out of 10. One of my first full number ratings, since I believe my only other full number rating, apart from Berserk being a 10 out of 10, was ironically my WATV review of that being a 5 out of 10. But yeah, overall, Devil May Cry the Animated Series, for me personally, is a 9 out of 10. I'm Quinn866, have a good one. Now let's talk about the characters who were first introduced in the freaking phone buzzer. Why now? In the previous animation section, there's a hammer whacker outside. Is there construction going on? That was a bit weird. Alright, I said Devil May Cry is widely known for the flashy visuals, and for those also familiar with Devil May Cry is saying Devil May Cry. The hammer whacker. Whoa, jeez, what is going on with that hammer whacker? Must be nailing in some like roof stuff. I can hear that all the way from over here. The reason why I'm actually really open to this and I actually really like it is because, well, Devil May Cry never really had side quests. Now, there were secret missions where you could do extra challenges for blue orb fragments, yellow orbs, or extra goodies, but they didn't exactly have, stories. The side quests were, or the, sorry, the, wow, I can't talk right. Like, obviously, we have the action themes that, fit the fights. Devil May Cry is widely known for that. And we have the scenes that are a bit slower, more ominous, dark for the walking around and whatnot. And that's fine, considering Devil May Cry used to be a horror game, at least in the first two games, before it quickly became more oriented towards action. Now, I do kind of miss the horror of Devil May Cry, but the music here does kind of give me vibes of the days on Malay Island, where you had, the more Resident Evil style thing where you picked up items, bada bing, bada boom. That's so nice. You're using a drill now? First a hammer, now a drill? Wow, there must be some serious construction going on. This is going to make recording really inconvenient.